All right. Good evening, everyone. This meeting is called to order. This is the Kaimukī Neighborhood Board, the March 19th meeting. Time now is 6:31 p.m. and we do have quorum. So first off, we're going to start with the city and state monthly reports. Do we have a representative from the Honolulu Fire Department on? Okay, seeing none, we'll defer that and we'll move on to the Honolulu Police Department. We have a representative from the Honolulu Police Department.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Lieutenant Miura from District 7, Honolulu Police Department. Begin with the statistics we have. So motor vehicle thefts, we have 11. Burglaries, we had 3. Thefts at 22, and unauthorized entry into a motor vehicle at 5. The safety tips we have has to deal with home security tips. So some of the things we suggest is make your home look occupied by leaving on lights, radios, and make it difficult to break in. Don't tempt a thief. Store lawnmowers, mopeds, bicycles, surfboards, or any valuables out of sight. Trim your shrubbery around your home to reduce cover for burglars. And never leave keys under doormats, flower pots, mailboxes, or other secret hiding places, as burglars know where to look for keys. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you very much, Lieutenant. Any questions for the Honolulu Police Department on those matters? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much, Lieutenant. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we're going to move on to the Board of Water Supply. Lorna, are you on?
Yes, I'm here. Can you folks hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Welcome.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I have 2 main breaks to report for last month on 16th Avenue. I just take it back. I'm not sure if that's right because I see January on here and it's March already. So I apologize. I'll get that number to you folks and I'll send it to you. The announcement I have this month is that the Board of Water Supply is hiring. So if you're thirsty for a stable career, the Board of Water Supply is hiring. We've got positions in engineering, information technology, customer care, and administrative roles. So you can enjoy some great benefits, job security, and the opportunity to grow and make a difference. So it's time to turn the valve on a new career that matters. So apply today at www.boardofwatersupply.com/jobs, or feel free to call 748-5160 for more information. That is all I have, and I apologize for my main break report. I got the wrong dates.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Lorna. Thanks for the updates. Any
Yes,
questions
you're welcome.
for the Board of Water Supply on those items? Sir. Oh, sir, would you mind coming up to the microphone, please? And stating your name?
My name is Charlie Schuster. I live up on Upper Wilhelmina Rise. Lorna, do you have an update on the construction of the water tank, the 815 Wilhelmina tank by Kiewit?
So I don't have this is the 815. You said, is that what you said?
Yep.
Okay. I do not have an update on that. I will make sure I have that update and I can report it back next month if that's all right with you.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
hang on, Lorna. There's just one other
Sure.
comment, ma'am.
Okay, yes.
Regarding the same area, I'm Laurel Schuster. I have lived across from the Board of Water Supply tank for over 30 years. And when we first arrived, it was well maintained, the area. For the past 20 years, I would say it is horrible. They don't water it properly. It is neglected. They sometimes use weed whackers to cut the grass, and it's left to weeds. Now, I realize that Kiewit right now is reconstructing that tank, but I hope that the Board of Water Supply would be a better neighbor in terms of maintaining their property so it doesn't look as bad as it has. There was piping for sprinklers that used to work there to maintain the area. They cut it off. And so I would really appreciate it if the BWS would give it some thought and be a better neighbor from now on.
Thank you for that comment. I'll make sure that I pass that on. Apologize for not being a good neighbor. And yeah, just we'll improve that, and I'll make sure it goes to the right department to take care of that. Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
All right. Thank you very much, Lorna. Anything else for the Board of Water Supply? If not, thanks. Thanks, Lorna. Thanks for the
Okay,
update.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, so we're going to move on to public input. This is an opportunity for the public to provide comment on items not listed on our agenda. The board may ask questions, but no action may be taken. And items are limited to 3 minutes each. Is there any public input this evening from anyone, in person or online? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to community updates. Do we have a representative from the Kaimukī Business and Professional Association? Oh, hi, welcome.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ivan Nguyen. I'm the president of the KBPA, the Kaimukī Business and Professional Association. So today I'm going to be presenting, just wanted to give an update on the parade and some volunteering opportunities that we have going on. So really want to say thank you to everybody who participated in the parade because of the community and everybody who volunteered and contributed. We're able to raise $12,000 for different community initiatives that we have going on. One of which is going to be our scholarship initiative. So every year we take these donations and we give it back to 4 high school students, graduating high school seniors. And we are looking for volunteers to help us with the interviews for these scholarships. Secondly, we are also looking for volunteers for our community park cleanup event that will be taking place on May 17th, 2025. The time for that will be between 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And if you have any questions, just email us at info@kbpahawaii.com. Thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you very much, Ivan. Appreciate the updates from KBPA. All right, we'll move on to presentations and discussions. So I know this is one of the highlights of the meeting, but Eric McCutcheon unfortunately said he could not join us this evening. So we will wait to hear from him next month. So we'll move on to an update from 3650 YLI. The Civil Beat Plaza is Kelsey Cunningham line.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, welcome.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to provide an update on the latest at Civil Beat Plaza. So I'm Kelsey Cunningham, and I'm the facilities manager over at 3650 YLI. So manage the building operations day to day. So it's nice to meet everyone. As you guys probably know, the building has been open for a little over a year now. And so we want to start by thanking the board and entire Kaimukī community for your support. So on that, we have a few updates on new tenant in the building that we're excited to share. The first is the much awaited news of the new restaurant that will be joining us. You're probably familiar with the Pig and the Lady, locally family-owned restaurant in Honolulu. So we're excited to have the family join or return to the roots in Kaimukī in our building. The restaurant just began construction last week, so we're excited for that. And they'll be located on the ground level next to Goodwill over on the Cocoa Head side. So we're anticipating them opening this fall, and we're working with Chef Andrew and the team to come share more plans about the upcoming, or to you guys with for an upcoming neighborhood board meeting. And other updates, Goodwill Hawaii has also shared that they've seen an increase in donation recently in the Kaimukī location. So we wanted to pass along their sincere gratitude, and your donations help support Goodwill Hawaii free job training and employment program. So thank you again, Kaimukī, for your support. And we're also actively working on additional tenants. And so we'll keep you guys updated as they're secured in the future. And if you guys want any more information on the building, you guys can always go to our website at 3650yli.com. And if you guys have any questions, you can, we have a building line, it's 808-524-1258, or you can email us anytime at info@3650yli.com. Thank you everyone for the opportunity to share the updates with you, and we're excited for you guys to join or come visit the restaurant in the future. So thank you everyone.
All right. Thank you, Kelsey. Any
Thank you.
questions? Any questions for Kelsey and Silverview Plaza?
Kelsey, this is Paul. What is the name of the restaurant, if you know it?
It's the Pig and the Lady. So
Okay. I didn't know if they had a different name, just the family. So Pig and the Lady.
no, it'll be the same name. Yeah.
Okay, great. Any other questions for Kelsey and Silverview Plaza? No? None online? Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate the update.
Yeah.
All right, so we are going to move on to the elected officials reports. First off, Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative, Brian McKee. Brian, are you on? Okay, so we'll move on to City Council member and Chair Tommy Waters' office.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, hi Adam, welcome.
Hi, thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the board. I'm Adam Du, City Council Chair Tommy Waters' office. In our newsletter, I believe we have emailed it out to the board members. You can also find it on our City Council website. There is an important update on FEMA's revised Oahu's flood insurance rate maps, which newly designated some properties in our district as high-risk flood zones. These changes could impact building requirements and increase the necessity and cost of flood insurance for affected property owners. Excuse me. We encourage residents to review these updates carefully. Property owners newly mapped into the flood zone hazard areas should have received a postcard outlining these changes and the next steps. FEMA has opened a 90-day appeal period that started, excuse me, on March 13th and will run through June 10th. One second, let me just get some water. Pardon me. You can check these maps out at resilientoahu.org. I did review these maps, particularly for your neighborhood board. The really only spot that I saw was on Wailai Avenue on the Mauka side between McDonald's and City Mill. But there are changes on the surrounding areas of Kaimukī and Kohala and the Kapahulu area. So you may have family and friends where these flood zones may have changed. So please check that map out. Secondly, we are in our 3-month budget season for the City Council. Today, we did go through our first reading of our budget. Last week, we did have our budget briefings with all of the various departments. 3-month process, and we should be adopting the city's budget by June 15th. Please, if you have any suggestions or questions for the city's budget, please contact our office and we'll be happy to work with you. I can identify if your budget concerns are in the budget or if it's something that you would like to be added. Maybe that's something that we can add as well. And lastly, I did want to point out that the mayor's town halls are starting up again. He has 7 town halls this time. Kaimukī would fall under the Kalani High School town hall, which is on June 5th, and it will be at their cafeteria at 7 p.m. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
All right, thank you very much, Adam. Any questions for Chair Waters' office? Okay, I think Becky raised her hand first. Becky, go ahead.
Hi, Adam. Take care of your cough.
Thank you.
I was just wondering if you could provide any updates on Queen Theater.
Yeah, thank you. The city is still in its, I believe it's negotiating process, with the owner. That's the best case scenario. If we can work something out with the owner of the city, uh, purchasing the property. If not, then we'll have to go into uh, uh, the next process of uh,
Eminent domain.
eminent domain. Thank you.
Mhm.
And the resolution that we had passed just asked the city to set up all of those processes for it, doing the research and all of that. So uh, it's still gonna be not something that's gonna be happening this year. Um, and so that next step would likely be taking place next year if we can't reach a negotiated price with the owner.
Gotcha. The reason why I ask is I have been traveling on the mainland and just noticing a bunch of theaters from that area or from that era, and they look really awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've noticed that they're like set up as nonprofits, and they're using them as spaces for fundraising events and community theater. The schools are sometimes using them, so I see some great potential in that. So I'm glad we're on our path to realize something like that here in Kaimukī. So I don't know if there's anything that the neighborhood board could do to help. I just encourage anyone in the community and your office as well to reach out to us, and I'll be happy to work on it personally. Thanks,
Yeah.
Adam.
No, thank you so much, Becky. We really appreciated your testimony, Chair King's testimony, and the support of the Kaimukī Neighborhood Board. This really was a push from the board, and that's how this really came about. And so we'll definitely be keeping the board updated of all of the next processes and however you would like to see this theater become.
Thanks,
All
Adam.
right. Okay, thank you. I believe Lori Amata had her hand up. Lori, are you online?
Okay, hi. Thank you. And Adam's such a sweetie. So, I was gonna say, okay, Queen Theater, yeah, I have an issue with that, and that I'd like it, go give the owner a chance, and I'm glad they're not gonna really jump on doing something because the city and county has bigger eggs to fry right now. Yeah, literally and figuratively, and that's fine, just let them go for a while because it looks fine right now. I mean, the biggest thing was blight. You don't see, criminal activity anymore. So I think that's a good thing. So whatever, just let it go. And I think the owner will be doing things to keep her property and, make it what the community wants because she's truly, her heart is in there. The other thing is 16th and Wailai. Hey, did the traffic lights change? Because when I was coming home from Costco one day, I'm like, hey, something's different about this, because I was coming up Wailai to Kaimukī, and it's like, oh, the other side went first, and then we just had to stay. So I'm thinking, oh, that's pretty good because if you go one way, everybody this way, everything and given time, and then one way going this way, right? Everybody get time. I think that works, instead of all of a sudden the green, and then everybody got to, try going, braking and stuff like that. So hopefully if that's what I observed with that stoplight intersection at 16th, I hope that's true and it's working, or it could have been my imagination.
Well, I'm happy to hear that the change that you might have seen is a positive change, but I will double check with DTS. I do know that they're still in their planning phase for a complete revamp of that intersection.
Mhm.
But yes, I'll double check with DTS if there has been this light change. And I'll be happy to report that to you and the board.
Okay, thank you so much for your hard work.
Thank you, Lori.
All right. Thank you very much, Adam. So we're gonna move on. Thanks very much, Adam, for the updates. Appreciate it.
Aloha.
Okay, so I'm gonna circle back briefly to see if anybody from Honolulu Fire Department is on. Okay. If not, we will move on to Governor Josh Green's representative. It's Amanda Stevens on.
Aloha, everyone.
Hi. Hello. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I want to acknowledge Chair and members, and thank you for having me on. I want to let you know that I will. Are you still receiving the newsletters as hard copy? Just wanted to double check.
I don't believe we are, Amanda.
Okay.
We do not have it this month, at least.
Okay.
I
So
believe we have received it in the past, though.
I'll make sure to be able to drop them off to you early on, because I don't get off of work until like right around now sometimes. And then I will put it in the chat to make sure to include the digital version of the newsletter. Just wanted to go over some of the latest news releases. There was a great outpouring of concern for the temporary removal of the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, and including some of the 100th Battalion as well, on a federal website. There was so much outcry on that. So there was a recent press release from Governor's office with regards to that, and some other news releases that I wanted to share with you about. It's not within Kaimukī, but it's Haʻia State Park, and then Ohana Fund disbursements. We also wanted to provide more information than that's in the newsletter, that Governor Green is definitely speaking with the congressional delegations. I know we've had folks even from the Kaimukī, Kahala areas asking about what's going to happen with their Medicaid, what's going to happen with SNAP benefits. So if there's any changes, you'll see it in the news releases. But right now, we just ask people to continue to understand that their benefits are still in place. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Amanda. Any questions for Amanda of Governor Green's office? All right. Seeing none. Thanks very much, Amanda. Appreciate the updates.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on to State Senator Stanley Chang's office. Anyone online from his office? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to Senator Leslie Hara sends his regrets. He was not able to make it this evening due to legislative hearings. So we're going to move on to State Representative Tina Grandinetti. Hello, welcome.
Thank you. Let's see. We are on day, 35 of 60 days of the legislature. So a little more than halfway through. Some updates from me. I have 4 bills still alive, which I feel like is pretty good for a freshman. All of them have to do with housing. 2 of them focus on keeping local homes in local hands by expanding community ownership models. And the other 2 focus on protections for the 40% of Hawaii households who rent. Those 2 bills were recently featured in HPR. One of them, I think, is relevant to some of the conversations we've had here around 201H. It creates a standard for how tenants who are displaced by 201H projects should be treated. It guarantees rental assistance and gives them first preference to at least try to qualify for a unit in the new development. And this would have impacted the folks at Kapiolani Village Apartments who had to fight for relocation assistance. And it currently impacts public housing tenants who are being temporarily displaced for the public housing redevelopment. As Vice Chair of Transportation, we're also moving an omnibus bill around e-bike regulation. Every time we hear that bill, I think about our good friends at Hawaii Bicycling League. And we are moving several vehicles to increase dedicated funding to safe routes to school, which I think would have a big impact on our district. Let's see what else. Last week, we passed the House draft of the state budget, and I'm on the Finance Committee, so I got to be part of that process. One of the key elements is that it puts away $200 million in our state rainy day fund. And the thinking behind that is best practice in states around the country is to try to put away 10% of your annual state budget for emergencies. So the problem is as we are trying to build our rainy day fund, it keeps raining. We have COVID and now we have these big federal cuts. So we've been getting briefings from the AGs, the lieutenant governors. We just had our senators brief us last week. And it's really hard to tell what's going to be happening with these big federal cuts. We've already seen a lot of impacts, but we're looking out for the big ones around Medicaid and our university and the DOE. So one thing I'm really excited about is because of all the uncertainty as we go through this current session, the House and the Senate have agreed on 3 tentative special sessions beginning in August, so that when we have more information, once the federal budget is out, we can come back and potentially allocate some of that $200 million that we squirreled away, potentially open up the grants and aid process again for nonprofits who've been impacted by loss of federal grants, and then deal with whatever else comes up in the meantime. So that gives me some reassurance that we're not just closing our doors in May, but we're going to keep monitoring the situation and be prepared to take further action. Yeah, that's it for me. Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much for coming out. Any questions for Representative Grandinetti, in person or online? All right. Seeing none. Thanks very much. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it. So we're going to jump back up to the Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative, who I understand is online. Brian McKee, are you there?
Yeah, I apologize. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you. Welcome.
Sorry about that. I've been having some technical difficulties here. The mayor was unable to put out a weekly or an update, but I would like to mention a couple of things. We had the state of the city last night, which was well attended. I don't know if anybody watched on television, but he highlighted a lot of the things that we've been doing, and a lot of things in revolving around expansion of light rail, the homeless issue, and all the new beds that have been added, the plans we have for the Evil A area that we're embarking on, and those kind of the highlights. So I thought I'd make myself available to answer any questions if you guys had.
All right. Thanks very much, Brian. Appreciate it. Any questions for the mayor's representative, in person or online? All right. Seeing none. Thanks very much, Brian. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming out.
All right. Thank you. Sorry I was late.
No problem. Okay, so we're going to jump back to the agenda for State Representative Jackson Sayama. It's Representative Sayama online. Okay, not available this month. And finally is a representative from Congressman Ed Case's office online. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to announcements. Yes. Well, that's a product of the agenda that we have this evening. But I'll request Jeffrey if he does see someone come online to let us know as we move on. All right, but I appreciate the comment. All right, so we'll move on to announcements. The first announcement is that voting begins for the neighborhood board term on April 25th, 2025. Excuse me, it closes on May 16th, 2025. To obtain more information, please check out the link on our agenda. The next announcement is that the City and County of Honolulu and the Hawaii Food Bank are partnering up to fight against hunger. Our very own neighborhood assistant, Jeffrey Jones, will be collecting donated canned goods at the next neighborhood board meeting right here on Wednesday, April 16, 2025. So those of you who are able, please come out with canned goods for next month, April 16th. Okay, so we're going to move on to board business. The approval of the September 18th, 2024, October 16th, 2024, November 20th, 2024, and February 19th, 2025 written summaries of video record. Thanks to Jeffrey for working on those. There were a couple of technical issues. I think we've got those sorted out. Hopefully folks have had an opportunity to review them. And if so, I'd entertain a motion to approve those written summaries of video record. All right, it's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. I heard a couple of seconds. I think James beat everybody to the second. So we'll indicate James seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, those are approved. Okay, so we're going to move on to reports. First off, a report from our Traffic and Transportation Committee. So I'm going to turn that over to Audrey. Audrey?
Yes, thank you. We had a joint Transportation Committee meeting with the Diamond Head, Kapahulu St. Louis Neighborhood Board at the Kaimukī Library on March 4th. In attendance was Margaret Murtry. She's the chair for the Diamond Heads subcommittee, and Leolani Iwaki, Kendrick Wong are members, and Juanita Liu. And Winston Welch was there from the chair from the Diamond Head board, and Renelle Huala, she's the chair of the Pololo Neighborhood Board. Brian McKee from the mayor's office, Roger Morton from DTS, and Eileen Mark from DTS. The topic was mostly covered was the bus route 200 and the safety concerns on Aloha Avenue and the social and economic impact upon our neighborhood and on Kaimukī town, the commercial area. All three boards, Pololo, Diamond Head, Kaimukī, are in support of this. Let's see. The bus 200 on Aloha Avenue is a very hilly street, narrow, no sidewalks, no median line. So it's very dangerous, and they were all in agreement of that. There were about 15 attendees from the neighborhood, mostly living around Aloha, and they all agreed to that. And the bus is mostly empty when they see it. And we had proposed a modified alternate route, and we have a map here. And what it is it's going to take the Palolo bus to Market City and then go through Kaimukī town instead of going to Aloha Avenue. So that way people can go to restaurants or banks or medical services or professional services in the public library. And there's a lot of schools that now had lost this route because Route 9 was eliminated when bus route 200 was put in. So when that happened, there's no route into Kaimukī town and also to 18th Avenue, which is the eastern part of Kaimukī. So it's really affected not just the economy and also but the social side of Kaimukī, because a lot of the students can't even have a direct route to the library. And the manager at the library told me she doesn't see a lot of the kids anymore. And that's a vital part of our community for children to have access to internet and computers and books, etc. So we had two speakers and they live along Aloha and they've been working really hard. And I'd like to have them speak now. And they spoke at this joint meeting and was very well received. So Juanita and Leolani, thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Leolani Iwaki. I'm a resident of Aloha Avenue. Just wanted to bring you up to date. Yes, we had really good response from our meeting, this past meeting, the transportation meeting. But I just wanted to bring you to the boards that we have here for you to take notice of what we covered. Basically, these are we have two hills on Aloha Avenue. We have a KCC. We have the 6th Avenue, the hills that are coming off of KCC and the hill is coming off of 6th Avenue. As you notice, well, if you know Aloha Avenue, one side does have sidewalk, the other side does not have sidewalks. What it's doing is a couple of things. It's making it not safe, just not only for the drivers. Here, as you can see, you've got blind spots, but also for people that are coming down and onto the street where there are no sidewalks and they're sitting there waiting for the bus. So we really shouldn't be having it. It's a really it's a safety issue not having it there. And as you can see, we have two maps, which was really nice. Juanita can explain that because it really it's a little more complicated than I can explain. But yeah, to redirect that. Oh, okay. Yeah. So really quickly, hold on a second. Can you bring that one? It's 3. Just really quickly, what got us involved in this was that on Thursday, August 15th, we came home at 3:30 to find a barricade in front of our home on the sidewalk. This is what was there. And it says, beginning Saturday, 8/17th, anytime becomes a towaway zone, city and county bus. That was our notice. That's the only notice we received prior to a bus stop being put there 3 days later. Thank you. And the next one. We also brought up to DTS is that where they put the bus stop, it's 4 feet away from our bedroom window. Again, we had no prior notice from DTS that they were going to be putting it in. It showed up 3 days later. It was there. So yeah. So this is what brought us to bring it up. Not only that, but of course, it's just not safe on Aloha Avenue. Thank you. Any questions? No? Thank you.
Okay, and kudos to Leolani and her sister because they went door to door. And so far, there is text groups of more than 70 households represented. And to give you an idea, Aloha lists 65 addresses. So I estimate we have about 90% of the people living on the street who do not want this bus there. This is a new bus route. It's not as though it was an existing bus route. In fact, I kind of have a planning and economic analysis background. So as we went further into this, just after the initial shock of a bus a new bus route being located on a very dangerous street with no prior notice. I never received a notice, and I didn't get one of the hundreds of letters they said they sent out. And if you can see the contrast between the two maps, the one on the right is where Route 9 used to be. That's the black going, cutting right down the center of Kaimukī. This is what on the left, what it looks like now, where the red, you have the red here. Okay, so coming from a planning perspective, the first lesson we learn, or the first model, is called central place theory. And that means for any region, you have a central place that is a center for all your goods and services. And that's either your town center or your city center or your capital. So in Kaimukī, what is it? Well, it's Kaimukī town, because you have Palolo here, you have Kaimukī and so forth. So the center where you want your public transportation to serve would be going right through the heart of Kaimukī. And that's where the old bus route went through. It went through the heart of Kaimukī, through all the restaurants, goods and services, the parks, and also the middle school, the post office, the library, as Audrey pointed out. These are all the places people want to go to. The banks, okay, all of your professional services, your restaurants and so forth. And so that's where people want to go to. So what they did was, this is the best route, and I don't know how long it existed. I estimate this route has been in existence for more than 80 years. Before it was number 9, it was number 3, was the Navy bus, because I remember that. So it served the community well, okay? So basically what they did was they took away that route and they put it on the edge or the perimeter of Kaimukī. So Kaimukī is this more or less rectangle here. And they put it on the edge of Kaimukī, right on the perimeter between 2 existing bus routes. That's actually the worst location you could possibly think of to locate a bus route, because you're not going to increase your ridership. It's actually a worse Malka to Macau access. And you're now eliminating, see, the bus totally bypasses all of your goods and services in Kaimukī, as well as the school. And furthermore, your residents here in all of central Kaimukī are now actually unserved by the bus. I mean, there's no bus that they can take to get directly to Kaimukī. Yeah, well, you can walk down here and take a bus down here and transfer, or go around that way or go around this way to Kahala Mall and then transfer. But it's a whole lot more inconvenient to get either in or out. So one of the things that we were really concerned about is the impact on Kaimukī town. What is the effect of the businesses? And later on, I'd like to have maybe Ivan comment on that. But the other effect would be on the school children, as Audrey mentioned, that, you know, I used to go to Kaimukī Middle School. So after school, I took the bus directly to Kaimukī town to transfer to go down to my Chinese school. And I could do that. But now the kids don't have that opportunity. I think that it's really hurting the education of our kids to not be able to get directly to the library. And also the kids who live in this area, in Kapahulu Diamond Head area, they are districted also for Kaimukī Middle School. They cannot get directly to school either. So we are arguing for the restoration of the former bus 9, just in the Kaimukī area. Okay, all of the rest, Palolo is being very well served, and so is Waikiki. But we feel that the Kaimukī residents are not being well served. Okay, so we were asking for ridership data, and actually we were promised that, but we never received it. So I did my own ridership study. So I took 3 representative buses. So I got on the bus where I thought people would, Saturday morning and Sunday morning, where I thought people would most likely take the bus to go to Waikiki, because they said that this is a route to take people from Palolo to Waikiki. And then I also took a ride on rush hour. Okay, it was a Wednesday afternoon. So these are my 3 representative points. And so I have my little clipboard here and 70 bus stops and recording how many people got on, how many people got off, and how many people total were on the bus. So what I'm looking at is the distribution of the ridership because they're saying that they want to increase the ridership. So what are the numbers? Well, I have here that the bus is serving the Palolo Wailai community very well. It's 62 to 90% on, 36 to 87% off. In Waikiki, 10 to 31, 13 to 64. That high number is a Sunday. But however, on 6 Aloha, it's less than 8% on any given day. Now, I live right at the crest, right on Aloha, so I get a bird's eye view of the buses, and I would estimate that about 80, 90% of the buses are totally empty. And the rest of the time, there are no more than 4 people on the bus. And this was confirmed by other people also who lived on 6th Avenue and Kaimukī Avenue who were at the meeting. We noticed that there is 0 ridership. 8%, don't get excited, that's 2 people. Okay, the 3% is 1 person. Okay, so, you know, in riding the bus, I think that this as a circulator connecting the 3 communities, Palolo, Kaimukī, Diamond Head, Kapahulu, is such a wonderful idea, but they're really missing the boat. They're absolutely missing the boat by bypassing the heart of Kaimukī, where we want to go, where we want Kaimukī town to thrive. We want our kids to get the proper kind of education and access to the community resources. So by restoring this route, you will accomplish all of the 3 stated goals of DTS. And what are they? One is an enhanced Malco to Makai route. And that would be this route here, what we're proposing. The second would be access to community resources and key destinations. And that's what you would have if you have restored this route. Right now, if you go along 6, Kaimukī, 6, and Aloha, there's absolutely nothing there except our houses. But there's nothing there of public interest. And then the third thing is to increase ridership. And I would say that I bet you anything that if you put the route here, you're going to increase the ridership in Kaimukī. You're going to increase your numbers. And you know why? Because you're going right in between routes 2 and 3, 1 and 2 blocks away. So you're not actually increasing your ridership. You're cannibalizing the existing routes. That's why I say it's absolutely the worst route put here where they put it. But we're really arguing that to restore back, you know, you really want to have, the best route would be either going across or going up and down. But you have a problem going across because you have the freeway and access. The best way, and because it's long this way, the best route to serve Kaimukī community would be going up and down. Okay, so I think that the other thing is that we have 3 neighborhood boards now that strongly support this. 2 boards passed resolutions strongly in support of that. Renelle from the Palolo board, and we've been going to their meetings as well. She spoke to 153 families representing 3 or 4 people. They all are in favor of going back to this route. And by the way, they said they want to go to the library. You know, and you think about why, well, you know, access, you want your kids to go to the library. I mean, my kids grew up and rode the bus. I rode the bus growing up. It was, you know, great freedom. I would rather have my kids going to the library than going to either Kahala Mall or Market City. And when I talked to my son about, oh, do you remember the buses and all of that, Market City, he was, oh yeah, that's where the games city, you know, that game center is, right? So yeah, so, you know, I think that as a parent and as a resident, we want to restore that. And I kind of want to ask Ivan about the businesses in Kaimukī because he's here today, and sorry to put you on the spot.
That's okay. Thank you. As a representative of the KBPA, we've had multiple members of the community and businesses reach out to me in regards to the bus route changes. Basically, their concerns are just taking away the 9 route decreases the accessibility for the individuals who have been taking advantage of that route. And they're concerned about the lack of individuals being able to travel to, I call it the top of the hill, but it's that area that a lot of people are concerned about in regards to the bus route and the accessibility.
Okay. Thank you. And as a former professor, I think that's going to be my next study, a survey of the Kaimukī businesses, right? Which route would you prefer? I think it's a, it's a kind of a no-brainer, but that's a kind of thing I think that maybe we need to do in order to get some results. Because this has been going on for 6 months now. It's a no-brainer, and people were just really surprised and say, why haven't they done it yet? Because to restore a former route, you're not talking about putting in any investment in new infrastructure. And you're also not concerned about resident protests because it's been there over 80 years. In fact, why didn't they ask people, do you want us to remove that route? Because every board we went to, people said, oh, I missed that route. I missed Route 9. So I think we're all, pretty much in concert with that. Thank you very much.
Questions for,
Okay. Okay, we did ask that question and they said, oh, it's the fastest way to drive by car from Market City to KCC. Okay, so you know what? Me and my husband, we went in the car and I went 3 routes, okay? So I went that route, it was 11 minutes to get from Market City to KCC. I went the other route where, starting from 9th Avenue where it comes down from Palolo. Then we went around Market City and came back that way and went down 18th Avenue. 17 minutes. It was a difference by car by 6 minutes. Okay, and DTS is saying, well, even if you add 5 more minutes, it's going to cost this much and all of that. But what is the cost of the loss of business? What is the cost of the decline of an urban town? Because your public transportation system does not serve your center. And I, as a taxpayer and as a longtime resident, I grew up in Kapahulu. Now I live in Kaimukī, so I'm very familiar. I want to see Kaimukī town thrive. I don't want to see it decline and yeah. Okay.
Roger Martin said that the engineers in his department said that it was from point A to point B, Aloha, the fastest route to go to Kapiolani Park. And but the overall consensus of the committee and all the attendees who live around that area is safety comes first, not point A to point B is the fastest route. And also, having the access to Kaimukī town and 18th Avenue. So right now, 18th Avenue has no bus service there. And I know people live on that side of Kaimukī and they are complaining. So, so safety is a primary issue. As you can see, I don't know if you've driven there, but you can't see cars coming from the other side of the hill. There's 2 major hills. You can't see them coming, opposing traffic. And there's no median line. So it's kind of a scary feeling, especially with a big bus coming at you. And I'm not exaggerating, that's just how it is. Because I live on Mauna Loa Avenue. So I go in that area quite a bit. But we're going to be posting the minutes this week. It's almost final, and there's more details in there because it was a very good meeting, and there was a lot of people speaking up because they've witnessed accidents over the years. I mean, it's a lot of accidents and cars spinning in the middle of the road. I mean, it's just kind of a dangerous street to begin with. So,
Audrey.
And DTS did say that they were going to review our proposal. Okay, and I did submit a written report as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks very much for the update. Any further questions for our committee? I have one question actually. So were there discussions on next steps? Is DTS going to report back?
yes, good question. So his assistant from DTS, she's in charge of the buses, Eileen. She took pictures of the map and they want to look at it closely. And so they were receptive to it because they realize safety comes first and that it's the people in the community that sometimes have the better input than, say, an engineer sitting at the desk. So they are going to look at it. We asked that we can meet with them. We can meet with them at Aloha. We can meet with them again. So we're hoping for the best with that.
All right. Thanks very much. Thanks for all the work and analysis and information. Appreciate it. All right. So the next item is reports of members' attendance at other meetings. Has any member attended any other meeting to report on? All right. Okay, seeing none. Before we get to our next meeting of the board, I'll just check Jeffrey. Have you seen any other government representatives log in online? Okay. All right, so the next meeting of this board will be on Wednesday, April 16th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. right here at the Kaimukī Public Library. Don't forget to bring your canned goods. And it will also be available remotely via WebEx. And with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thanks very much, everybody.